Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to show you a couple of quick and easy ways to decorate gift bags using the Celebrate Sunflowers, here it is, stamp set, and we're going to be using both sunflowers and the Let's Celebrate You stamp. I'm going to show you two different ways to stamp the sunflowers, and for one, the first thing that we're going to do is make just a kind of like a banner to go across the front of the bag and decorate the bag itself a little bit. But then the other thing I was going to do is just show you how to make a quick tag using this stamp set that you can put on this bag or another bag. I've gotten where I keep these bags. These are like, I think the actual bag part is about 4.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And I've gotten where I keep these and then a larger size in my closet all the time. I just buy them off of Amazon and keep a bunch of them because they're so handy for gift giving, and then I can just decorate them quickly or throw a tag on and it's festive and fun. And I don't have to worry about not having a gift bag on hand. So that made it easy. Okay, I'm going to switch my camera around. And I'm going to show you this designer series paper first off that I'm going to be using. This is the Tea Boutique 6x6 designer series paper. I've cut it down to sample sizes. And look at that. These are all different patterns. So on one side we have teacups, and then on the other side we have this, oh, I'm blanking, like this lattice work kind of print. And this is actually the print that I'm going to be using today. So then we have flowers, and then this lovely blush that's actually petal pink lattice. Then some little flowers and some crushed curry stripes. That's those two pieces. Those two pieces. So this is, again, it's just the front and the back that I'm showing you here. Making sure that was right. I just love all of these. I think this might be my favorite piece out of the entire DSP package. It's hard to say though because there are a lot of really great pieces in here. And I know I'm going through these kind of fast, but that's because I don't want to take up all of your time looking at this paper. But I wanted to show it to you because it's so pretty. I love the colors. And like I said, I love the patterns. Okay, so that's enough of that. Let's get to stamping. So the first thing I'm going to do, remember this was a 6x6 designer series paper pack. So I cut this sheet 2 inches and then I left it 6 inches. But I wanted to fit across the front of this. And this was 4.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my trimmer and cut this off. And then I'm going to save this little end piece because you know I like using my scraps. So I'm going to save that and just put it to the side to use on my tag later. So now I'm going to go ahead and let's start stamping. So instead of inking this whole stamp up with ink pads, I am going to ink up the whole thing with Mango Melody. I second guessed myself again. I thought, oh dear, did I say the right name? I did. Okay, so I inked the whole thing with Mango Melody, but now I'm going to use Early Espresso and a sponge dauber. Isn't that cool how it just fits on the end of your finger like that? Very handy. So I'm going to just use this to add some ink to the center of my sunflower. And since I'm going darker over lighter, I'm not worried about mixing the colors up. Ooh, that's going to have a big old brown spot in it, but that's okay. So now I'm going to huff on my stamp. That just makes sure it's all moistened up. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? So I'm not finished though. So now I'm going to take, this is another sponge dauber that I've been using with Mango Melody. So I'm just going to brush some Mango Melody onto these leaves So they're just very pale yellow. You can make it as light or as dark as you want. But I think that that is good for me. And now I'm going to take a piece of my small little grid paper that I forgot to get out and set it under here. And then I'm going to clean off some of this brown from some of this early espresso from my other sponge dauber, because I want to add a little bit more color to the center of that flower, but not that much. This color is very dark and it's easy to get overpowered. So I'm just going to lightly brush that on the center. That looks great. So that flower is done. Now I'm going to take a scrap of paper. This is basic white and it is a skosh over 1 3/4 inches wide. And if you're curious, it's 4 1/4 inches long, but you don't need it that long. But actually, you know what? It would come in handy because I'll be using the other end of this later. So I'm going to grab that small sunflower stamp, and using that same Mango Melody sponge dauber, I'm going to ink up the petals on this one. And I'm going mostly light to dark. I am going to be using Pear Pizzazz for the leaves on this. So I'm really not sure which one of these colors. I think Pear Pizzazz might be a tiny bit lighter, but not enough to mess up your ink pad if you're careful. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to grab that Pear Pizzazz and another sponge dauber that I use with Pear Pizzazz. And I usually have these labeled just with a label maker, but I haven't done that with these for some reason. Blending brushes a lot of times I'll use for more than one color, but my sponge daubers I like to keep with a single color. Okay, and then I'm going to use that early espresso again on the center. A little huff. I really like the way that looks. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the larger flower, and I'm going to go back with those sponge daubers and just add a little bit more color. Should have cleaned that Mango Melody one off a little bit more. It's kind of dark in some places, but that's okay. Okay, that looks good. And then the Pear Pizzazz on the leaves. Okay, and then the final piece for the front of this bag is going to be the sentiment that says, "Let's celebrate you." So I'm going to stamp that in Versamark as soon as I use my embossing buddy to clean my cardstock. It just gets any grease that may be on your cardstock, or from touching it with your fingers, or static off of your cardstock to help you. You want your powder, your embossing powder, to stick only to the Versamark. You don't want it to stick anywhere else on your cardstock. Okay. So now I'm going to pour the white embossing powder over that. and then set it with the heat tool. Okay, so I'm going to use my paper snips and just cut around this very quickly. So now we're ready to assemble this card, or not card, but this bag front. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is take some tear and tape and put it on the back of that DSP piece. Stampin' Seal Plus would be another good option for this part right here, just to make sure it's stuck firmly and securely to the front of that bag, because it might get knocked around a little bit, putting things in the bag and taking things out of the bag. Okay, so then I'm going to get my liquid glue. Oh, one tiny little detail. We need to die cut these. Okay, so I'm going to use the coordinating sunflower dies to cut the sunflowers out. So I want this one, and I want this one. Okay, so now I'm going to use the liquid glue on the back of the smaller sunflower and attach it right about here with this leaf and the bottom of the sunflower hanging off a little bit. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the big one. And I'm going to get my silicone mat because I don't want glue all over my desk. So I'm just going to set that right there while I finish this up. There we go. And then I'm going to use mini Stampin' Dimensionals to attach the sentiment to the front of this. So I'm going to put a few on here. I think I'm going to go ahead and take one more, and I'm going to use my snips to snip that in half so that I can put it on this thinner end here. There we go. Turn it around. Gonna put it right about there. And then I'm gonna grab my favorite embellishment of all time, my brushed brass butterflies. These are beautiful and must be used with flowers, I think. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to flip this over and pull off that tear and tape backing. I don't want to pull off the tear and tape, but I will pull off the backing to the tear and tape. And then just place this on the front of your bag wherever it looks best. So I'm going to go right a little higher than the middle. And there we go. So there's our first project already done. Isn't that cool? I love the way this turned out. So now I have a really fast one for you. That one was pretty quick, but let's go even quicker than that. And I'm going to get... Okay, so I had this setting on a damp paper towel, and that's all the cleaning that I'm going to do for it right now. I'm going to grab that scrap of basic white again. I think there's just enough room on this end to be able to stamp the sunflower one more time. I'm going to put it there, and this time I'm going to use Stampin' Blends to color the Stunflower. I'm going to let it sit there for just a minute though, because I don't want to use, or not use, I do want to use this piece. I do not want to lose this piece. So I'm grabbing out of my stash here a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock, and I'm going to use my tailored tags dies. These are so handy if you like to make tags. It makes it quick and easy. Okay, I was just making sure that would fit on there because I didn't measure this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that scrap right about here. That's as good a guess as any. And then I'm going to use my dimensional in a minute, or not my dimensional, my die in a minute to cut this out. Just want to make sure this is straight. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and color this. So I'm using light Daffodil Delight, dark crumb cake, and light Old Olive. And you can use the brush tip or the bullet tip, either one. And you can go through and add shading. I'm not going to do anything extra or special to this. I just want to get it colored real quick so that we can put it on our tag. Okay, and then I'm going to use crumb cake to color the inside. I love that you can get super detailed with the blends, or you can just put color on real quick. It looks good either way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get my little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out again so that I can use my dies to cut these out. I'll start with the tag. Remember, when you're using the mini Stamp Cut and Emboss machine, you don't want all your ends lined up perfectly. So I've got all mine kind of staggered and cattywampus there. So there's my tag. And then there's my sunflower. Okay, so we still need a sentiment to add to this. So I'm going to grab another scrap of basic white cardstock. I wonder how many times I say that in a week. Let's see if this one's big enough. I think so, if we stamp crookedly. So I'm going to use Starry Sky to stamp Let's Celebrate You Again. I still have not replenished my little bin of basic white cardstock scraps. This was the last one I had in there. I keep getting to that last one. Okay, so I'm going to start by just adding a little bit of liquid glue to the back of this sunflower, and I'm going to put it a little bit over this banner on the bottom. The end is hanging off, that's fine. I kind of want it to. Okay, and then I'm going to get my paper snips. And I'm going to cut out each of these words. So I'm going to start with let's. And then I'm going to cut out Celebrate. And with Celebrate, I'm going to get just a little bit more fussy. Not a lot. Because I still want this to be quick. There we go. And then I'm going to mostly cut it straight across, but I am going to cut around the Y. There we go. Yikes. Okay, so I hadn't planned on doing that little extra on the bottom there, but I accidentally cut it, so had to do something to fix it real quick. There we go. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces. So I'm going to add this one with a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to use my handy take your pick tool to pick that up without getting glue all over my fingers. And I'm gonna put it on here kind of crooked. I forgot one little thing. So I cut these out earlier with this die from Taylor Tagged Dies. Taylor Tags Dies. So it's just a little circle piece, and it kind of helps to strengthen that hole up at the top of your tag. So I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back of that and then stick it right here. And I used Starry Sky cardstock to cut that out with. So then in Celebrate, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add just a little bit of liquid glue. Gonna put that across there kind of crooked. And egads, I got glue everywhere. It should be okay. It'll dry clear. Maybe don't use as much glue as I did. Thankfully, this next piece is going to be put on with Stampin' Dimensional, so I don't have to worry about getting too much glue. So I just cut it in half. I'm going to put one piece down here. I'm going to put one piece over here. It's still sticking to me. There we go. And then I'm going to grab one more dimensional, put it right there. So it'll be nice and even and stuck on good. And I'm going to overlap this one and straighten it up. So I'm overlapping it with the sunflower and leaving it straight. And then we can't forget those butterflies, right? So I'm going to get one more butterfly. Y'all, I can't stamp and keep a clean desk. I'm trying to pretend and just brush it all to the side, but it is chaos when I stamp. I always clean up between every card or every project, but the middle part, it just gets crazy. Okay, so I'm also going to get to tie this onto my bag. I have this wonderful 2022 to 2024 in color baker's twine. So whenever you get it, it comes as a package. It doesn't come in my little bin here, but you get all 5 of the in colors, and this stuff is good for so many things. And one of those things is tying tags to bags. So I usually get about, I don't know, 7 or 8 inches, unless I'm tying like a fancy bow or something. And I put both ends at the same time through the hole, and then I loop the end over those loose ends, and then it's ready to tie onto a gift bag. So I hope you like these 2 projects. Let me know which one you think you might want to make, and if you want to see more ideas using the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set and the sunflower dies, check out my blog. I've been using the stamp set all week and I love it. I've used it for many, many things. Sunflowers are my daughter's favorite, so of course I do sunflower things for her every year. This year she's getting into essential oils. She's wanted a diffuser for her dorm, so I gave her some essential oils and a new diffuser for her birthday, and then I made these cards for her. Let me flip the camera around. So these are just index cards, 3x5 index cards. I cut them in half, and then I poked a hole in the corner. These are leftovers. I've already given her hers. But, and then I put like an O-ring up here, and then on each card I wrote recipes for essential oils so that she just has a starting point for the oils that she has and ideas on what to do with them. So that's a good idea. You can use stamps for so many things. It's not just cards. So anyway, I got sidetracked again. Back to what I was trying to tell you. If you want more ideas, if you're thinking that you may want to purchase this stamp set, by the way, you can do that on my online store, but you're not sure that you have enough ideas to make it worthwhile, check my blog. You can put in the search bar, Celebrate Sunflowers, and not only will the cards that I've made this week come up, but the projects that I've made over the last couple of years will come up, because this stamp set has been around for a little while and I do love to use it. And maybe you already have the stamp set and you just need more ideas on what to do with it. So I hope I can help you out there. I hope you like some of these things. And remember, you can always tweak the colors if you don't like the ones that I've chosen. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We are enjoying cooler weather up here in my part of the state. I hope weather is nice where you're at and you can enjoy this last bit of summer that we have. All right, happy stamping.